Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your guy Perrier, and we are back with another video. Yo, this time, man, we're gonna go ahead and do a quick impressions of Chris Brown's Breezy album. We're gonna go ahead and dive into a quick impressions, my thoughts, and all that good stuff. So if you're excited for that, go ahead and drop a like. And yeah, let's go. Alright, y'all, welcome back. Like I said, we're about to go ahead and check out, do an impressions video of this Chris Brown's new latest album, Breezy. But if this is your first time checking out one of my videos, man, y'all know what y'all gotta do. Make sure you go ahead and like, make sure you go ahead and comment, make sure you go ahead and subscribe, and you gotta hit that bell wherever it may be, because it's crucial, y'all, and I don't make the rules, alright? So without further ado, y'all, let's jump right into the impressions. Alright, so we're gonna keep this real simple. We're gonna divvy this out from basically the good and the bad, and then we'll get right into the overall impressions rating that I give this album. So going right into the good of the album, I thought the album was very cohesive. Everything just sounded like it just gelled together. The production in itself was very similar from track to track. You didn't feel any kind of jarring differences from the production and the whole vibe. I thought he had a very cohesive album and a very large album. This was a 23 track album, if I'm not mistaken. 24, I stand correct. So, you know, Breezy had to come through. Anytime you have an LP that's that heavy, you gotta come through. And I felt like overall, he did a solid job. You know, some of the highlights from this album, you know, the ones that stick out to me was definitely Closer, CAB, Addictive, Need You Right Here, Bryson Tiller, that was a banger right there. Of course, Warm Embrace, come on now. Forbidden, Forbidden is a banger to me. Really has those MJ vibes, but for that track by itself, it actually leads into some of my bad, and we'll get into that into a second. And Survive the Night, that was actually a very solid track as well. And you know, for me, I really love the melodies and the harmonies used throughout a lot of the tracks, a lot of the vocal productions on this track. It just really stood out to me. And you know, it's not to say that Chris Brown wasn't doing this for forever now, but it really stood out. You know, when you hear some of these melodies and some of these harmonies on this track, I think he did a phenomenal job. And you know, overall, just the whole vocal performance from Chris Brown, and you know, a few of his different counterparts like Ella Mai, her, Tory Lanez, you know, a lot of them, they really came with it, and that was dope. Alright, getting into the bad, and thankfully for this album, for me at least, there's not a lot of bad. I really tried to look at if there are any terrible tracks on this album, and there really isn't any. There's not a lot that, you know, I may come back to per se, but the tracks itself, they're pretty good. But diving into the actual bad, I mean, I felt like tracks like Forbidden, like I mentioned earlier, were very, very, very solid. I thought it had that very MJ-esque appeal that I really, really mess with. I felt like he did an awesome job. It's probably my favorite track on this LP. But you're like, you know, we talking about the bad, and the bad that I'm taking away from that is that he should have done more of that. He really should have done more of those types of tracks, because that's really where he shined. And you know, maybe he didn't want to do that because he didn't want to seem like he was biting off, you know, MJ style. I get it, but he shined there. He blew it out the park with a track like that. The only thing I was kind of weirded out by was that I felt like the mix was kind of just a slight bit off. It was just too loud at times. There was a lot of noise, especially when you get into the chorus. It wasn't enough to distract me from liking the track, but I just felt like the mix was just kind of loud, and just there's like a lot of instruments and his vocals competing off one another. So I thought that was a little weird, but overall it's still my favorite track on the album so far. And the next bad is kind of like a light bad. For me, it was very, very feature heavy. When I look at this track listing, there's a lot of features. You know, we got Lil Durk here. We got You know, Tory Lanez, like I mentioned, Lil Wayne, Lil Baby, Wizkid, Her, Bryson, Ella Mai, Jack Harlow. You know, we have a lot of features, you know, on this LP. So it's very feature heavy, but it's still kind of balanced out here. There's a lot of songs that he's just by himself on, which is great. But also, I really feel like no one really outshined him on this track. So I thought that was at least decent. And for the most part, it really just shows that this is his album. This is his arena. And this is, you know, him bringing in folks to come out and play with him. You know what I'm saying? I ain't mean that in a weird way, but you know what I'm saying. All right, y'all. So overall impressions of this album that just dropped. You know, I was looking at some of the articles. He's projected to sell anywhere from like 60K to 70K. I don't give a fuck about the sales of any album that I listen to. If I mess with it, I mess with it, and that's really it. And that's really how y'all should feel as well. I don't think the sales of any album should dictate how that album should be received. But I really feel like this is a great effort from Breezy. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, overall, I feel like I really come to like more and more songs off the album. There are songs that, you know, maybe I glossed over initially that I come back to. I'm like, yo, this is dope. Like one of the tracks, one of the examples of that would have to be, yeah, Show It. Show It was definitely a track that I was like, it's okay, but man, that track is hard. It's hard right there. So, you know, I think that just goes with any album that you listen to. That's why this is not a review. This is just an impressions, because I really feel like you really don't get the whole experience until you give it a little more time. So for me, when we give this the overall rating, you know what I'm saying? And if you're not familiar with the rating scale, here you go right here, y'all. Here you go right here. All right. So we gonna go ahead and give this a flame. All right. This is a flame. This is gonna be probably my favorite R&B release of this year. You know, this is June as I'm recording this, but it's probably gonna be up there. I think it's safe to say, unless of course Usher shows up this year, then it's over for everybody. But listen, that's just me, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comment section below. Dying to hear from y'all. Thank y'all so much for checking out this video. And listen, I'm gonna check y'all out on the next one. Peace.